I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you've ever found yourself in a high stakes communication situation, like whether you've been in a boardroom or a meeting, a one on one session with someone, if you've ever been called, had to give feedback and you have danced around it because it's really hard to say the hard thing, I'm just here to tell you that it's not your fault. It is not a character flaw. When we're being called to communicate and say the hard thing in situations and you either want to avoid it completely, you want to lash out, or you're activated in some other way, it's because you're having a nervous system event. Your body is dysregulated in that moment. So that means that cortisol is elevated, it's activated, and it's high, and it's impacting your brain such that it's you're not able to communicate from a place of safety. And so you're fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? We all know these terms now. And in an upcoming workshop called Truth to Power, I'm going to talk about the different sort of nervous system responses and how they can impact your communication abilities when you find yourself in these high stakes communication environments, especially where there is a power imbalance, we'll say. So let's say you're speaking with a supervisor, for example, and you really want to say the hard thing, the thing that needs to be said, and you lose your voice or you're scared. Again, you're having a nervous system event, which is really hard to come back from unless you have the tools to make yourself feel safe in your body to have these conversations. Unfortunately, we're not really taught how to have these hard conversations, especially not women. We're just left to, oh, if you can't say the hard thing, it's because you just really need to grow a bigger pair. And that's just such utter bullshit. And right now, more than ever, we really need to help each other advocate for not only ourselves, but for other people as well. There's so many things going on in this world that this whole bystander effect, it's just, we need to move past that. And it starts with feeling safe in our bodies, again, to say the hard thing, to say the things that need to be said, to advocate for others, especially when we see injustice, when we see anything happening that's not right. And so it's really difficult, especially when we're having a nervous system event where you are at the mercy of your body. And at this workshop that's happening July 23rd, 2025, I know that there's a lot of lead time in between now and then, but at that workshop, I'm actually going to give you some real tools to help you bring your body back to a place of nervous system regulation so that you can communicate clearly and effectively and powerfully and lead and be visible in your truth and feel safe doing so that nobody's gonna fuck with you. Nobody is going to fuck with you because they know that you're strong and you're confident in your skin and that your truth is, you don't need permission to speak it. Okay. And so again, this is going to probably be for folks that have experienced that power imbalance and the loss of their voice when it happens, who find themselves locked in patterns of conflict avoidance, who maybe you're a person who, when you're stressed and you're trying to communicate with subordinates or whoever, your partner even, you lash out. You're a door slammer, right? You can't speak without exploding. Again, these are all nervous system responses. Or you're a person who fawns, so you just pile on you can't stop talking, right? You're an over explainer. And maybe you're someone that does all the things, depending on the situation, because that happens too. Again, I can't stress this enough about stress, right? Elevated cortisol, activated nervous system means that you lose your voice or explode or over explain or freeze completely. You just can't say the thing. Your heart's racing. Your hands are shaking and sweaty. If you've ever been afraid to put your hand up in class and your heart just starts to race knowing that it's about to be your turn to speak, well, I want you to imagine what it's like to take a deep breath and speak from a place of safety, of power, of wholeness, of clarity, without needing permission. And when you speak and you communicate in this way, calmly, coolly, When you're able to bring light to the darkness, that thing, those things that need to be said that everybody's too afraid to say out loud, when you're able to acknowledge the elephant in the room without judgment or fear and with compassion, with sovereignty, that's what this is about. It's about empowering you to communicate in a way that empowers yourself and others, that creates that personal sovereignty that nobody can take away from you. And when you communicate from that place of nervous system regulation, ooh, that becomes a superpower, the likes of which a lot of people just don't really know how it feels. I certainly didn't. For a long time, power imbalances, oh gosh, those are honestly the hardest to learn how to communicate within. When you have to say the hard thing to someone with more power than you, or perceived power, whether it's whoever it is, whether it's a partner. That's a toxic thing to imagine, right? Where there's that power imbalance. But again, for a lot of women in professionals and in the workplace, especially, communicating the hard thing to a boss or saying the thing around the table when everyone's looking at you and they don't even think that you have a right to be there, let's be honest, that's terrifying. And that's what keeps people small, because we don't want people to look at us. In a world where social media is we want attention. And I'm not saying that from a place of judgment. It's social media has taught us to show up, consume information differently. So where we want to be visible, we want people to like us, right? We want to be validated in a way that soothes their nervous system while actually promoting these feedback loops where if we post something and we don't get any likes or anything like that, people are taking that to heart, and that's creating its own nervous system event. And sovereign visibility, sovereign truth telling, and all that good stuff is showing up in a world of going on social media, of speaking your truth in a way that's not dependent on whether or not people are going to like you after. It's about whether or not you're doing the right thing by speaking that truth, that thing that needs to be said. Let's take for example, right? Like you've got a situation that I've seen recently is a person in a position of leadership didn't say the hard thing to a person that, like an employee, completely avoided conflict. It's not their fault. Nervous system event, didn't recognize it. The employee didn't know anything. And so what ended up happening is the employee got themselves into trouble for something that probably could have avoided if that hard conversation had been had. And so all of that to say, the speaking truth to power, it can be relational, right, on the situation, but speaking that truth from a place of nervous system regulation is a skill. It is something that can be learned. And again, just imagine how differently you would show up in the world and speak and communicate if you felt safe doing so. And that's what, again, we're going to cover at the Truth to Power workshop, July 23rd, 2025. Spaces, I say spaces are limited, not to create a false sense of urgency. It's just that I've only got a certain number of seats available, and I don't know when the next one's going to happen. It will happen. I'm just not sure when at this point. If this is something that you have been waiting for your whole life, if this is something that resonates, or someone that has struggled with this, please register. Please share. Because again, now more than ever, we need to speak truth to power. And we need to do so in a way that honors and respects the dignity of all persons. And so if that sounds up your alley, please register. And I so look forward to seeing you there. Have a wonderful sovereign day.